What's up, guys? So we survived the Armageddon that was week 5 in NFL Survivor. It was a brutal slate out there. I think over 55% of the pool got eliminated, and that's on the DraftKings pool, the $100 pool. That's the one that I'm in and I'm doing. But let's just take a look at some of this week 5 bloodbath that we had here. And if you want to go back at my previous video, you can kind of see what I warned against. And the first one was on Thursday Night Football, the Rams losing to the 49ers. I pointed out that I didn't like this matchup because Shanahan has had the upper hand on McVay in that rivalry for whatever reason. He just has his number. And even with all the backups in for the 49ers, they found a way to beat the Rams, and that kind of worried me. So I could see why people wanted to pick it with all the backups in, but the coaching matchup definitely scared me, so I warned against that one. And then the other brutal one was the Cardinals, and you can't even fault anybody for picking that. I mean, 999 times out of 1,000, the Cardinals win that game. The guy fumbling the ball on the 1 yard line after a 70-yard run is just unforgivable. So sometimes, I mean, that's NFL Survivor. Stuff like that happens, but that's one of the all-time beats. The Cardinals had no business losing that game. And even with the interception, then fumble into the end zone, and the Titans scored, just a crazy bad beat for anybody on the Cardinals, so I feel for you there. And the only two major survivors of the week were the Colts, who hammered the Raiders, and then what we suggested picking, which was the Lions against the Bengals. Jake Browning still doesn't look well. I think Joe Flacco is going to be starting this week anyway for the Bengals, but the Lions are pretty sweat-free. The Bengals scored some garbage time points, so that was pretty easy. And then the Bills lost to the Patriots on Sunday Night Football, so there was a lot of bad beats this week. But if you tailed the Lions, you survived this week, and that's the name of the game, is survive in advance. But I think, let's see, we got 10,400 that started out. I think the pool's already down to 2,900. So a lot of people got knocked out there. We survived the Armageddon week. And let's take a look at the next week, week 6, and see if we can keep it going. And we're going to head back to survivorgrid.com. I'm actually going to put the link in the description just so you guys can click it for yourselves and mark off any of the ones you've done. So you can go on the website and, like I say, you used Indianapolis, you can cross them off. I have the ones crossed off for the ones I've done on my videos. But yeah, just so you could view the website and look and sort by the percentages up here. But let's just take a look at the top of the percentages for week 6, and 43% is on Green Bay. That is a massive number to go on one team for the week. Now, obviously, it'll change. Like when I did my video last week, there was not a lot on the Rams when I did the video. I think it was like 3%. And then on the DraftKings pool, it ended up going up to 23%. So it's a huge jump. So it'll change throughout the week, and it'll be different from whatever DraftKings does. But this just gives you an idea of what everybody's picking. So if we look at Green Bay, obviously the reason is because the Bengals are really bad, a 14-point spread. But Joe Flacco was traded from the Browns to the Bengals, and if memory serves correctly, Joe Flacco beat the Packers earlier this year on the Browns. Now, granted, it was the defense and the special teams that really won that game. The Browns' offense didn't really do much. But, it's a short week for Joe Flacco to learn the Cincinnati offense, and Green Bay was on a bye last week, so I can see why people are picking that. Let's go to the next one, Philadelphia against the Giants. And this one, it's a Thursday night game. I don't like picking Thursday night games, mostly because it's a short week, so there's more of a variable of what can actually happen on the field. But 16% on this because the Giants haven't looked well whatsoever. And I'm going to avoid Philadelphia for this because I don't think they've found their groove yet. They are still struggling, clearly, and they just lost to the Broncos. But even in their wins, they've been struggling. And there's some animosity with A.J. Brown going. So just going to avoid the Philly until they find their groove. And I'd rather pick against the Giants when they're in Philadelphia. I think it's safer. Granted, MetLife Stadium's going to have a bunch of Eagle fans there anyway, but short week at the Giants at MetLife, I'm going to avoid that one. Denver against the Jets. We've already picked Denver, so it doesn't really make a lot of sense for me to talk too much about this. But the only thing that would worry me is that Denver's traveling all the way to London, and that's always an X factor for the West Coast team. That's a far flight for them. So I'm gonna I you can pick this one because the Jets have looked bad, but the Jets need to find a win some point here or there, and the London trip creates more of a variable. So I'd be careful with that one. And then Pittsburgh against the Browns. I don't fully trust Pittsburgh yet. They had a bye, so they should be fine. They should have a good game plan against Cleveland. Dylan Gabriel didn't look terrible, but he didn't look great in his last game. But at least they were competitive. So I'm going to avoid that one too. It's a rivalry game. Just going to stay clear of that one. New England against the Saints. New England really surprised against Buffalo on Sunday Night Football, but the Saints, they didn't really beat the Giants. More the Giants beat themselves against the Saints. I mean, just a bunch of bad, sloppy turnovers, and the Saints were able to capitalize on it. You give them credit for that, but it's in the Superdome, so the Saints always tend to play a little better there, but New England look good. The only thing I worry about New England is that it's a trap game. They just are coming off a high against Buffalo, so that one worries me a little bit, but this would probably be up there for me and ones I would pick. Indianapolis against Arizona. I've been telling you guys that I don't trust Arizona, but I don't trust Arizona both ways because they are bad certain games and then they're good certain games. And I don't trust them to to lay a stinker against the Colts, right? I could see them coming back and beating the Colts here. So I'm going to avoid this one for now. I'll wait to see if we can use Indianapolis maybe against Tennessee. I think that would probably be a better matchup there. Dallas against Carolina. I mean, Dallas played the Jets, and the Dallas defense still scares me too much to pick them. I don't trust Dallas enough yet. Maybe at some point down the road we could pick them. They don't really have a lot of future value, but I don't trust them enough against Carolina. Carolina's been starting to get better, so I'm going to avoid that one. And then this one, the Rams against the Ravens. This is the only other pick I was really considering. I'll show you my main pick after this. But yeah, I think the Rams having 10 days to come up with a game plan against a Lamar Jackson-less Ravens, it should be a safe pick. I wouldn't be mad anybody picked this one. I think it's a pretty safe pick considering the Ravens looked really bad without Lamar Jackson last week. Maybe Harbaugh can put together a game plan, but I think the Rams should be a pretty safe pick this week. And then the rest of these I ain't touching. I don't trust the Raiders enough. The Chargers have been lacking a little bit. I don't trust them right now either. So the rest of these games kind of going to avoid for now. And, I hate to do this. I really do. I'm going on the Packers. And 43% is always going to scare me because when everybody thinks they know something, you all go down with the ship together usually. I've seen it so many times in Survivor. But seeing Joe Flacco coming and trying to learn the playbook in a few days, and he's a quick learner. He'll be able to do it. But the Packers pass rush against the Bengals O-line, which the Bengals O-line hasn't been that good this year, I could just see the Packers getting after Joe Flacco, who's not as quick as he used to be. And he really was never that quick, but he certainly doesn't have that many wheels anymore. So I think this should be a pretty sweat-free pick for the week. 14-point favorite. They're home against Cincinnati. I just can't see the Packers losing this game, especially coming off the bye. They've had a lot of time to prepare for this. I think they'll have a few good blitz packages going, and then maybe Micah Parsons get after Joe Flacco and just cause some chaos. I think there's a reason it's 43%. And like I've been telling you guys, I really like to survive the early weeks and then make the harder picks down the road, right? Because at the end of the day, when you get to 13, 14, all down here, it's going to be hard no matter what. So you might as well use the easy picks up here and then deal with the harder ones here. I'd rather lose a tough week in week 15 than get knocked out earlier in the pool. So we're going to go with Green Bay. I think it should be fine. Once again, don't roast me if it loses. I'll wear it because it's you never know. And the Joe Flacco magic is a thing, and he's already showed it against Green Bay. But there's just no way Green Bay loses to Joe Flacco twice in 1 year, right, on two different teams. But stranger things have happened. But yeah, with that, guys, let me know what you guys are picking, why you're picking them. But like, comment, and subscribe, and we should see you for week 7. Hopefully it's not another Armageddon week, but it certainly could be. But we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching.